Driven from lands farther north by more powerful dragons, a young white dragon named Cryovane has descended upon the Sword Mountains, claiming the snow-capped range as its domain. With each passing day, the dragon's domain grows as it ranges farther across the land, preying on anything it can catch with its claws or freeze to death with its icy breath. Dragon of Icespire Peak is an entry point for new players into the world of Dungeons & Dragons, being a part of the Essentials Kit, the second starter product following the starter set. The adventure takes place in the same area, but other than that, it's pretty different, and I can't wait to dive into it. Welcome to the first episode of Dragon of Icespire Peak Guide, where we'll discuss our approach to the adventure, the town of Phandalin, and its place in your Forgotten Realms timeline. You're watching Lutes&Dice, and I'm your bard, Folgard. Dragon of Icespire Peak adventure revolves around a small frontier mining town of Phandalin. Because both this adventure and Lost Mines of Phandelver share the same town, people tend to question their relation to each other and whether it's a sequel and so on. The answer is the connections between the adventures and with the geography. More than that, the Essential Kit adventure is written as though Lost Mines of Phandelver never existed. The town is in the exact same state, rebuilding by new settlers and so on. I'd say you have three options here. The first one is running it as a separate thing, as written. Second is combining it with Lost Mines of Phandelver in order to expand the world and add a lot of stuff to do. And in this case, I would say that the entire Dragon of Icespire Peak material would kind of feel like a bunch of side quests, because I think that story-wise, Phandelver is quite stronger as written. Dragon of Icespire Peak, on the other hand, is more modular. Lastly, you might want to run this adventure as if it was happening after the events of Lost Mines of Phandelver. Let me know in the comments how do you plan to run it. Here's how I look at this adventure. Dragon of Icespire Peak provides a DM with a whole bunch of pieces, and the designers clearly went for more free form. There's not much boxed text in the book. The descriptions of rooms and areas are by far less specific. Most quests are tightly packed in 1 or 2 pages. The main antagonist, the dragon, is flying around with a constant dice rolling by a DM. That said, a DM is free to take those pieces and throw in his own flavor. There is a vague background to all that's happening, but there's a lot of space to insert your own characters and go nuts with the plot. All that is fit into experienced DMs and very creative or brave new DMs, but if you run it as written, it's still gotta be a lot of fun. So the last option, running it as a sequel, is the one that would require some extra work. Depending on how your party concluded the starter set adventure, you'll have to figure out who's in charge of the town now, how much time has passed, and so on. This is what I'm doing with my game, and I'm going to share my version of Phandalin with you. But regardless of your preference, I still invite you to listen, because the only thing I actually change is the town mayor. Everything else is rather an expansion. If you've seen my Lost Mines of Phandelver series, you've probably heard that in one of my games, Helia Thornton claimed power and executed Harbin Wester, the mayor, as a traitor. Then she was captured by Sildar and the players, and eventually she committed suicide in her prison cell. That's the story I'm sticking to in this adventure. Phandalin has attracted new settlers over the years, who have rebuilt most of the ruined rim that surrounded the town. A stone wall is currently under construction. Tresendar Manor is now a museum that has various items at display, found in the mines, as well as equipment of the heroes of Phandalin, the former player characters. It is held by Darren Attermath, who loves good stories. It is mostly a quiet place, but once a week or so, people tend to gather here to share stories and listen to Darren's loot. Prominent items include dried undead hand, a 4 feet tall mushroom from the cave that was planted in the courtyard, orcish and dwarven armor and weapons that is 500 years old, and a stuffed giant spider. The town has new guard captain and weapon master in charge of training recruits, both being Sildar's friends from Neverwinter. Phandalin is finally taking shape of a town rather than a village. Sildar Hallwinter is a new mayor. Now, he's not super comfortable in this position, so he's got some help. Cassandra Elasidir is his loyal assistant assigned to Phandalin from Neverwinter. She kind of hates this job, but she also takes it as a trial before getting a higher position in Neverwinter. When the adventure starts and the PCs come close to the town hall, she's currently taking fire from some angry peasants who wish to see Sildar, claiming that he does nothing to protect them from the dragon. Eventually, he shows up to take a challenge.
Are you still feeling brave? Let's hear some suggestions of who's more capable of leading the town.
Silence, and then,
well, how are you going to get us rid of that beast?
Then Sildar sees the adventurers.
There they are. These are adventurers from Neverwinter as I requested. Now get back to work or I'll throw you into the dungeon.
Sildar is tired of being a mayor. He didn't request anything and just bluffed that. He says that after the war with the dragons, which took place in my timeline, all the adventurers are either dead or retired and don't give a damn about what's happening to a border town. Phandalin is well protected, he believes, but he has no resources to hunt the dragon down. If 2 soldiers leave their post, everybody goes nuts. I just felt that I wanted to justify the need for adventurers, so I mentioned Dragon War, something that made sense in my timeline for my players. You are free to come up with your own stuff or just leave it like that. And that's how I would start the adventure. In the next videos, we'll dive into actual quests, and we're going to discuss what happened to Phandelver Mine and what if your players want to give it a visit. And that's it for today. Share your D&D stories, ask questions, and I will definitely answer them. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.